Okay, so we're going to look at something slightly more difficult today. Well, we'll start by looking at a harder version of one of the questions or kind of questions we looked at in the last video. So here we go. We've got part of the graph of y equals 3 cos brackets x plus 5 is shown in the diagram. And here's the sketch. We've been asked to find the turning point at A, state the coordinates of A. Now, don't be confused. This is not a quadratics question. Okay, so we've talked about turning points, the sort of minimum point here, when we've been sketching quadratics, but that's not what this sort of question is. Now, you'll recall that this 3 here is the amplitude. That is how high this graph gets. So because that's a 3, here is 3. This graph, the maximum point of y is 3, and so the minimum point of y is -3. Okay, so actually that's given us one of the coordinates. We've got the y coordinate of our answer. It's -3. Now the other thing to note is this plus 45, and you might recall that means that everything now has been shifted 45 degrees to the left. Okay, so you check the previous video just to make sure you're happy with that. Plus 45 means you've moved everything 45 degrees to the left. So if we think about what a normal cos graph would look like, so just the graph y equals cos x, that's usually like a bucket shape. It goes here, goes all the way down, comes back up. Okay, so it reaches its maximum point at 360 degrees. The minimum is at 180, and we can plot other points as well. But actually, I'm going to stop there. The normal graph, the minimum point is here, okay, at 180. So we know this. This is knowledge that we need to go into the exam having. We need to be able to quickly sketch the cos graph. If we know that's 180 and we know that this graph is shifted along 45 degrees, this is just a case of doing 180 subtract 45. So this point here is on the x-axis is 135. And that would be our answer to this question. Okay, so just make sure you're happy with that. Think it through. We know what the minimum point is in general. So if we know this has been shifted left 45, we've just shifted across 45 degrees. Okay, a different question. So we're going to look in today's lesson about related angles. So these are angles that, well, as you'll see, are in some way related. So this is what it'll look like in the test. It'll say, given that cos of 60 degrees is 0.5, state what the value of cos 240. And what I want you to do is to quickly sketch a graph. Now, it doesn't need to be as detailed as this one that I put on my screen, but you need to quickly sketch a graph and just be happy that you know these key points. The cos graph starts at 1, it crosses the x-axis, so y is 0 at the point 90. It reaches -1 at 180. It comes back through at 270, and then it's back here at 360. Okay, so this is the cosine graph. Okay, and what this is telling us is it's saying that cos of 60, so here at 60, the value is 0.5. And we can actually just check that we've sketched it correctly, because if that says 60 and we read that off as 0.5, that suggests that we've drawn the graph correctly, because that matches what they're telling us. What they want to know is the value of 240. So they want to know what the value of this point is. Okay. Now we can read it off because this is a perfect drawing. You can see straight away the answer is going to be cos 240 degrees is going to be equal to -0.5, -0.5. Now the way you do this in practice is what there's a symmetry to the cosine graph, and you know that the difference between 60 and 90 is 30. There's a difference there of 30. Okay, so remember that 0 is a point that we know for certain. There's a distance of 30 there, and there's actually a distance between 270 and 240. There's a distance of 30 there as well. So what we're getting at is, if that distance is 30 and it's changed by a half in that time, then for this distance, this mirror image, okay, think of it as a reflection, is also going to be a change of a half in that time. Okay, so you can think of it in blocks of 30. From here to here, it changes by 30, and from here to here, it also changes by 30, again, because it's a mirror image, which is why you get to minus a half. So this point is also minus a half, okay? And then because the whole thing is a reflection, it means that this distance here is also 30. So it's also going to be minus a half. Okay, the more you see, the clearer it'll be. Here we've been given three values, and we're told just to put them in order. So again, what we want to be doing is quickly sketching a cosine graph, and we can just look at this. Cos of 90 is one of the plots we need to know. Cos 90 is 0. Okay, so we know that's 0. Cos 100 is going to be somewhere around here. And we don't know what that value is, but we're certain it's going to be less than 0. Okay, because it's below the x-axis. Cos 300, so I'm just going to put that, is going to be less than 0. And here, I can just put a negative sign, that's negative. It's probably the easier way of saying it. Cos 300 is here. Okay, and again, that's clearly positive. And so now it's really easy to put these in order. The negative one must be first, the 0 one must be second, and then third is going to be a positive value. Oh, no space there. But you get the idea. So it's going to be this, this, and then this. Again, being able to quickly sketch this is going to be the key. And again, you don't need to be as nice at sketching as a perfect picture, as long as you know the key thing, that cos is a bucket, that crosses at 90, gets to the bottom at 180, and is back up by 360. You can even forget what this one is, but you can work it out because there's a difference of 90. 0 to 90, 90 to 180. So if you just add another 90, you're going to get 270. So it's just 90, 90, 90, 90. Okay. But as long as you can quickly sketch that, you would be able to quickly plot these. 90 is 0, 100 is going to be negative, and 300 is going to be positive. Okay, again, they might ask you it with sine, and again, we could plot, quickly sketch a sine graph. Sine of 0, okay, is here. It's 0. Sine 30, okay, well, it's positive, and sine 200, it's going to be around here, which is negative. So again, that's first because it's negative, that's next because it's 0, and then this is next because it's positive. Okay, it says give a reason for your answer. Your reason would be that's negative, that's 0, that's positive. Okay, so that's what it's asking for when it says a reason. It wants you to state these facts. Okay, given that tangent 45 degrees is 1, find the value of tangent 135. Okay, again, we want to sort of sketch this graph. Tangent's the funny one, okay, where so this here is 90. And so from 0 to 90, it just grows bigger and bigger and bigger. And then there's no value at 90. But at 91, it's super negative, and then it comes back in. Okay, and then it just keeps going like that. Okay, so it wants to know, it tells you about tan 45. So tan 45, if we think of 45 as being around here, yeah, so we're told the value is 1, so it's going to be up here, okay? So tan 45 is 1. What is tan 135? Okay, well, straight away you know it's negative. And if you just think about what is the difference between 90 degrees and 45? Well, it's 45. So there's a distance there of 45. And if you work it out, there's a difference between 90, the difference between 135 and 90 is also 45. So what this means is this is a reflection. And so this value here is going to be a reflection of this. So it's also going to be, so tan 135, that absolute value is also 1, okay, because that's 1. This is going to be 1. But as you can clearly see, it's going to be a negative. So it's -1. So yeah, just be conscious of this. This would be a non-calculator question, by the way. So you would have to be able to quickly sketch this graph. Okay, so it's just knowing, what it looks like. It comes in at 0, it's 0, it goes towards there at 90. Okay, and then at 9, just over 90, it sort of starts to come back and it does this again. So it's been able to sketch that. Okay. Right, we'll end on this question. So this is part of the graph y equals cos x degrees is shown above. If cos 60 is 0.5, state two values for which cos of x is minus 0.5. So they've given us this point, but what they want to know is this. They want to know what this point right here is and what this point right here is. The values that are minus 0.5. So again, we'll use this distance. There is a distance of 30 between 60 and 90. So there must be a distance of 30 again for this to be minus 0.5. If you've traveled 30 away from 90 here, you're going to have to travel 30 away from 90 here. So this point is going to be the point x, is going to be the point x equals whatever 90 plus 30 is, so 120. Okay? And again, we're using 30. 30 is, what's going on here. So let's have a look at this one. This is 270 where it crosses. So this is going to be a distance of 30 that we're interested in. So that's going to be x is equal to 240. Now you can check all this on a calculator, but this would be a non-calculator question. And again, we're using this mirror image. Okay, if I sketch the axis of symmetry, okay, which would cut through 180, we're just using the fact that this is a mirror image, okay, and the symmetry as well in the x-axis, okay, that distance of 0.5 is mirrored here. As long as you're 30 away from 90 and 30 away from 90 here, that distance is the same. You're using 90 as this sort of central point. And again, it works on a bigger scale here. So really what to do with these questions is just to get drawing on the graph, okay, and just you're going to feel it out. How far away from the key points are you? And just work your way away from that.